It's only sport with Martin Devlin on the platform. Brought to you by One New Zealand. Let's get connected.
Your favourite game, Lachlan?
We need to talk.
It's called what?
We need to talk.
Glass half full? Or what has more chance of happening?
Well, you decide.
Glass half full.
Yes, it's glass half full today, Lachlan.
Yes!
Before we go and talk about the All Blacks and bring you some quotes from yesterday's presser where Ethan De Groot fronted and also Anton Lienert-Brown. And De Groot talked about a needle being jabbed through his neck, front on. He said it wasn't that bad. I don't see how it could be anything other than bad. Somebody jabbing a needle through the front of your neck. Sonny Bill Williams, the old mate, and we bumped into him a couple of times at the World Cup last year. And in actual fact, we helped him and Morgan Turanui get a couple of seats next to us, didn't we, Locke? When the rather officious stewards there at the World Cup were trying to prevent them from taking a seat up in the media enclosure. And I know that people are polarised about Sonny Bill, but my interactions with Sonny Bill have only ever been pretty damn cool. And I don't get into the politics or all of that kind of stuff. I just like him as a person. I've met him about a dozen times. Wasn't he always really friendly? Every time we saw him, wasn't he?
Well, I didn't really see him. You did.
Yeah, okay.
Because
we're mates.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what would happen in France? You know, I would see someone like, oh, geez, there's, Brian O'Driscoll. Oh, Sonny, oh, cool, you know.
And I'd go over and pretend that I know that.
Yeah, you'd latch on to them and get a photo you'd chew their ear off.
Okay, all of that.
You do the Miles Davis.
I would, absolutely. I wouldn't leave them alone. Sonny Bill says there should be several changes to the All Blacks. And I can't remember what he said this on a podcast or an interview or whatever it was. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, these are them.
Next!
Part of his reasoning is that he thinks that it is time now that New Zealand rugby bit the bullet, and if a player is good enough to represent New Zealand, to be an All Black, and they're playing overseas under whatever circumstances, bring them back. So,
next!
Sonny Bill says our loose forward trio should be Shannon Frizzell at 6, Satiti at 8, Ardie at 7. Glass half full, glass half empty on that.
Well, assuming that the selection rules are relaxed, of course.
You've got to be glass half full on that. Is that better than what we've got?
Well, I think Blackhead is better than Shannon Frizzell. I think Hayne's better than Ardie as an open side. That's my opinion. Then again, I'm not an idiot. Ardie needs to play. But I think we need a specialist number 8. The thing that I fear out of Wallace Satiti is the same thing that I fear out of Ardie Savia. He's not tall enough.
Well, I also think that, is he going to be one of those guys that they, like Luke Jacobson, that they don't give him a position, and in the end he spends most of his time covering some other position? He plays number 8. I want to see him playing 8 for the All Blacks. In that case,
6.
Ardie can't play 8. In that case, put Ardie somewhere else. In that case, put Ardie at 7.
Then again, they did that with Kieran Reid. He started out as a blindside.
Did he?
And then they're like, oh, this guy's actually a really good number 8. Graham Henry played him there instead.
He was superb at 8.
Yeah.
But look, part of the reason, and a great part of the reason why we won back-to-back World Cups is because our forward pack was just a monster. Tight 5 aside, those guys at the back of the scrum had the license to do what they wanted, and we had the 3 best players in the world over about 5 years. There was no better number 6 than Jerome Kano, who owned both World Cups that we won. Richie McCaw, goes without saying, and Kieran Reid at his absolute best. There were no better 6, 7 and 8 in the world for those 4 or 5 years.
Thoroughly agree, yeah.
Sonny Bill, tick for you.
Next!
Well, no, I'm glass half empty, but sure.
I'm going glass half full on that.
Why, because you're mates?
Stop it. He's mates with Paddy, my youngest son. Well, he's not really. But,
nothing against Paddy. But
well, no, Paddy was about 8 or 9. I took him out of school that day that Sonny Bill came in and sat with me in the studio for an hour. And says,
how old's Paddy now?
21.
So that was 12 years ago.
He remembers.
Does Sonny Bill?
I showed him the photo. Stop it, mate. That's. He pretended he remembered. He says that Aaron Smith and Mwanga should come back. He says, Sonny Bill, that neither TJ or Ratima is good enough at the moment to control it. He said Aaron Smith's speed of pass, length of pass, that pass where he would actually pass from half back to the centre bypassing first and second 5, and that means the All Blacks were attacking in the middle of the field. Bang, we got breakthrough there, and all of a sudden we're scattering their forwards. He said if these guys are good enough and they want to play, bring them back. Glass half full, glass half empty on Smith and Mwanga, All Blacks this year. And whether we would have done better with those guys against South Africa. I'm glass half full again. I think he's right.
Well, if it's right now, yes. But it's, Aaron Smith debuted for the All Blacks in 2012. So he'd be in his early mid-30s now. I'm not too sure what his age is.
Is he better than TJ?
Well, right now, yes, he is.
But he's better than Ratimu.
This is the
Cortez,
issue.
I still have a lot of confidence in, okay?
This is the issue.
Don't get me wrong.
We've got a slew of really good players who have left the All Blacks in the last 12 months or so. And sure, they are better than the replacements because the replacements are still being developed, if you will. A lot of the replacements are quite young. Now, TJ's not the halfback of the future. Cortez is. Now, Cortez isn't going to be at his best right. Sorry, excuse me. It's actually Roygaard, yeah. Now, it's all well and fine for Sonny Bill to play around with hypotheticals and say this would be a better team. One, the rules don't allow it. And two, this is all well and fine for the next 6 to 8 months. But these guys who he's talking about are getting older. And the same goes for someone like Shannon Frizzell or Ardie Savvy. Now, Shannon's a little bit younger than I think most people realise. But at the same time, he's a guy who was horrendously inconsistent from 2018 when he debuted right up until last year. It's not as if we solved our blind. Murray Mixter brought this up yesterday.
Okay.
It's all well and fine to say these things.
Okay, well, you can be glass half empty about it.
I am glass half empty because it's not the future.
Okay.
Next.
Glass half empty, glass half full. Beauden Barrett replaced Mackenzie at 10.
Glass half full. I'm out on Mackenzie. I'm done. I'm not out on Beauden Barrett because he's still playing at a high level. And people forget he won the World Rugby Player of the Year award twice. Should have won it in 2018 because he was still the best player in the world and he had that incredible test against the Wallabies at Eden Park.
6 years ago.
Yeah, but he's still playing at a high level.
Well, he's playing better than Mackenzie at 10. And
without a doubt.
Mackenzie's had his go and all the fears we had about him not being able to control a game at All Black level when we needed him to control it. And I said to you before the South African test, I said in that last 10 minutes, when we need to hold a lead against those guys, I would rather have Harry Plummer sitting in that pocket banging it 50 metres up the bloody touchline.
That's a silly thing to say.
Okay, well, what did Mackenzie do?
Yeah,
he punted it up in the 22 and it came down on the 22.
I agree with that part of it, but to suggest that Harry Plummer will do a better job, he hadn't even debuted for the All Blacks yet, is a bit out there.
At the moment, I'm picking Beauden Barrett to start at 10.
Absolutely.
And I think, raise your nuts if you don't do that.
Next.
He says he wants to partner Sonny Bill, ALB and Rico in the centres.
No.
Glass half full, glass half empty.
I'm glass half full on half of it, Anton Lienert-Brown, but I'd have him at centre with Geordie Barrett at second 5.
Okay.
Next.
Part two
Geordie
of that.
Barrett's been playing well. Why would you drop him?
Part two of that is he says he would have Geordie at fullback, Caleb Clark and Talia on the wing. So he would have Beauden at 10, ALB and Rico in the centres, Geordie moving from second 5 to fullback. Geordie's played fullback.
No, I know that.
Glass half full, glass half empty on Sonny Bill.
Glass half empty. You're dropping Will Jordan. He's
putting Will Jordan on the bench, mate. He says
no, stop it. I don't care. I don't care if Sonny Bill's been to has won 2 World Cups and been to 3. I don't care. You're telling me that Will Jordan is not as good as Mark Talia? Get off it. I'm not interested in that. Move on.
You're glass half empty on that.
I'm absolutely glass half. The idea that Will Jordan is not as good as Mark Talia. Will Jordan is a game breaker who, weirdly, as we saw with the most recent test in South Africa, might actually be better on the wing because he seems to break the game open more that way. But I'm sorry, Sonny Bill, what are you talking about here? Come on.
Well, okay, Sonny Bill, glass half full, glass half empty.
Yes.
This is the Sonny Bill selection criterion. He's got Mackenzie and Jordan on the bench because he says both of them can create real impact and we need real impact. He said you bring those guys on, they can open a game up and we don't have those players on the bench.
So then you're assuming that your starting 15 isn't winning a game.
No, what he's saying is
that's what you're assuming.
Look, he said it's listen to Sonny Bill. He says it's a 23-man game, and he said all the players have got to realise that even if you're on the bench, you're going to play a significant part in the game. So get your head around it.
No, hold up.
So stop being so selfish.
No, you are, but you're also assuming, or not assuming, you're wanting your bench to have such an impact that the starters weren't able to have an impact. Wouldn't you? It's like in football. Do you put your best player on the bench? No, you start with him. It's basketball. Your starting 5 has, or at least your star player starts. Your best quarterback in the NFL starts.
Well, it's not working, is it? Will Jordan is being absent in these games and we're not getting the ball to him.
Okay, who's played better than him? Apart from Caleb Clark, who's played better than Will Jordan and deserves to be on the wing ahead of him?
No, probably. Apart from being under the high ball against England.
I get the whole impact off the bench thing, and Damien McKenzie provides that.
Well, he's just providing food for thought. He's just providing discussion points. He's just trying to
I'm pouring gasoline and flaming it down, okay? Because I don't think that's the way to go.
Devlin.
That is a disgusting act.
The platform.
Audio from the All Blacks press conference, ladies and gentlemen, in no particular order, but here we go. Ethan De Groot and Anton Lienert-Brown, the two players put up. The team naming is 9 o'clock tomorrow. Justin Marshall will be on the program. He'll open the show for us tomorrow. He is in Sydney. He'll be at that presser. Ethan De Groot, are the coaches hammering home the importance of retaining the Bledisloe Cup?
There's a lot of history there with the Bledisloe, and it's an easy game to get up for, playing against the old foes. So, the messaging throughout the week is important around acknowledging the history around it, and then, we don't want to be the first team to lose it. So, yeah, it's a huge occasion, and the Wallabies, they're wounded beasts at the moment, but so are we, and we want to get one back. So, I think both teams will be up for the challenge, and yeah, I can't wait.
The body language from Ethan was interesting. We saw him a couple of times in Paris at the Rugby World Cup. He doesn't like doing the press conferences. I don't know why they put him up. He doesn't like doing it. We've spoken to him on one-on-one interviews before, and he's been brilliant. He's been really good. But in front of the Rat Pack, you can read so much of people's body language. He sits right back like this, and he just kind of looks away the whole time. He maybe says 2 or 3 words usually. Remember after the Ireland test, and we're getting constantly pinged in the scrums, I asked him about 3 or 4 questions about the scrum. He just wouldn't answer them. Oh, I don't know what happened. Well, you were there, and the referee's pinging you. What did he say? Oh, I don't know. Can't, yeah. Well, did he say anything at all? Oh, not really. Well, what were his words? I think you've asked that question. Media Minder steps in. That's how it works at these press conferences, ladies and gentlemen. I like the guy. I like the player. But if they don't want to front the media and don't want to talk, well, what's the point of putting them up? If you're going to front a press conference, at least go there and do it as part of your job, part of your salary, because that's what it is. Anton Lienert-Brown, is confidence still high after the back-to-back Springbok losses?
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, it wasn't the results we wanted, but like Gruder said earlier, within 80 minutes, we put a lot of good moments together. So we're definitely pulling out, I guess, the good from those performances, but also know that we need to get better. Certainly a great experience for all of us to go over there and play in South Africa, especially for the boys that haven't done that before. If you think about challenges, it's probably one of the greatest you can face in World Rugby is to go over there and play them, especially at the moment. So, yeah, taking away a lot of good stuff we did and working hard to get better as well.
Ethan De Groot, do you confront or ignore the noise that happens, the outside noise when you lose?
Oh, it is tough at times. I just, personally try not to read into, what's out there or comments that are getting made. But, I suppose that the fans and the media love us when we're going well, and they, tend to pull us down when we're down. But, it's a tough one, but I don't personally buy into. I think the team's in a good spot, and the coaching group and everyone here is working really hard to get the performances that the fans deserve to watch.
Same question to Anton Lienert-Brown then.
I think as well, though, that, in this environment, like, we take, I guess, losses and stuff personally, and I think, it's no more personal than the group in here, to the group in here. So as Brutus said, we don't listen to a lot of outside noise, but we understand the privilege it is to wear that back jersey and the responsibility that comes with it. So obviously going to South Africa and not getting the results, it hurts, but we'll use that hurt in the right way.
I like that reply. And I like Ethan's reply as well. It should hurt. You should be disappointed. And you should know that we're disappointed because we have a huge, high standard for you blokes. And that is because you're earning a crap load of money these days on the reputations of a whole lot of guys that didn't earn any money. And the reason that the All Blacks have this aura or brand or ability to sell themselves all over the world is because of 100 years of excellence. So you're playing for not only yourselves, but you're playing for all of those others that played in the past that aren't millionaires because of it. And you're playing for your country, and you're playing for all of us fans who live vicariously through the team and want you to win and demand that you win. And the day we stop doing that, we aren't the All Blacks anymore. It's that simple. You know, if you want to play sport for funsies, go and play sport for funsies. The All Blacks don't play for funsies. The All Blacks play to win. They don't play to play, they play to win. And if you can't handle that, well, then go away and do something else then. But you buy into that when you get that jersey and you get all the rewards of that jersey. So suck it up, buttercup, and get out there and play hard and do your best. No one hates you because you lose. It's just rubbish. No fans do, will they? They're absolute idiots if they do. I don't hate my teams because they lose. I hate them because they lose. Well, I don't hate them, you know what I mean? I just get really disappointed and I want them to win and play better. Simple as that. And we're not playing well enough at the moment. And we're not good enough at the moment. And your job is to get better. That's what your job is. And to win test matches for New Zealand. Were you disappointed, Anton, to lose your starting place to Rico after the way you played against Argentina at Eden Park?
You always want to be starting, but at the end of the day, like it's about team first. And, you know, I've had conversations with the coaches of reasons why, and I guess I understand that at the moment it's a bench role, so it is what it is. I'll push as hard as I can to be starting, but at the end of the day, I'm always, you know, grateful to be in the squad and putting on the black jersey.
What about Joe Schmidt? Stood out when he was with the All Blacks. What is it about that guy?
First thing I remember is he can pretty much name every rugby player in the world by first and last name. That was the first thing I was most impressed with him about. But he's much more than that. It's just his relentless drive to coach the small things, the little things that really matter in the game, like making sure you win the clean out race and win the air and things like that. He's just relentless in the way he drives. I guess the grey areas of the game, and at the end of the day in Test footy, that can be the difference. There's such small margins, and he understands that.
I love that encyclopedic knowledge. Yeah, that's impressive, isn't it? When a guy comes into the coaching group and he can talk about any player in the world, he knows who that player is and what they do. That says that he has done a lot of work, is what it is. That's a guy who deeply thinks about the game. Any interactions I've had with Joe Schmidt, very impressive bloke. That doesn't mean that he can coach this bunch, that lot, to beat the All Blacks. Excuse me. And that doesn't mean that he's a bad coach either. You know, sometimes you've got to look at the players and say they just aren't good enough. And the Wallabies at the moment, God, if we don't dick this lot by 20 or 30 points, come on. Final question for Anton Lienert-Brown. How do we get more impact from our bench?
Yeah, for sure. We've had those honest conversations about it. We know when the All Blacks are at their best, the bench come on and finish off the game. And reality is we haven't. Probably could have iced 2 games in South Africa, but we didn't. So, we're having the right conversations in here, and I think the right conversation to have is just to acknowledge it, to know that we need to be better, and there's no shortage of talent coming off the bench. It's just the way, I guess, we execute those last minutes.
It's Only Sport with Martin Devlin on the platform. Brought to you by One New Zealand. Let's get connected.